So today we're going to be talking about the most oldest established neighborhoods that have sold over $1 million plus in the last 12 months here in San Antonio, Northside.
Yeah, all specifically on the north side.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a really exciting list. So everyone's always talking about the new upcoming neighborhoods. It's kind of interesting to dive into some of the more established neighborhoods because there's always some great homes that can be found in there. So let's get into this right now. You ready?
Yeah.
So on number 5 of the list is one neighborhood that I've just loved forever and ever and ever. It's Elm Creek. Elm Creek, there are all price points from garden homes all the way up to the estate size homes. And what's so cool about it is the location. Super popular with medical professionals because of the location, proximity to the medical center. And you're right there off that I-10 corridor. You've got 2 guarded gates 24 hours a day, so it's, manned security. And, it's established. You've got homes with great landscaping and things like that. I mean, it's neat. The other part, though, is, of course, it's a great opportunity for, rehabs as well.
So the other thing to consider is there's only been 5 sales in the last 12 months. So there's not a lot of turnover in these neighborhoods, which means a lot of people like to stay there. So trying to find one of these gems is not always easy. They don't always hit the open market.
Yeah, for sure.
So
in many of the neighborhoods like that, there will be trades that will be off market, not in the MLS, and that's where you need to be in the know kind of thing. But you're right. I mean, it's a great location, and a lot of people don't like to leave a great location.
Right. And so you're saying that it's double guarded or double gated, double guarded, close to the medical center.
Yeah.
So, people that still have to drive to work, we talk about location, and why that is so important. Let's talk a little bit about the style of house they can expect to see in Elm Creek.
You're definitely going to get, some of your more traditional homes over there, but there are a few developers and builders that are still in existence today. Roberto Kenningstein, for example, was one of the, just the top-end builders in that area, and he's still one of the top-end builders today. So you'll definitely find, his flavor in the Mediterranean and whatnot. There are all levels of styles, so it would give a great, starting point for someone that would want to, elevate a home and give it a little bit more of a modern feel on the inside.
Speaking of Kenningstein, it's funny. I pulled a list about a year ago just to see what price per square foot his homes brought versus other builders, and he has his own price per square foot.
He's in his own,
which is kind of cool.
Universe.
So when people talk about price per square foot, it doesn't really equate with his design versus just another builder's design.
Absolutely, I would agree with you 1,000%.
So,
he is definitely in and has been in a league of his own for
years,
decades at this point. So Elm Creek definitely has the number 5 spot. The next one is going to actually go over to the Stone Oak area.
Okay.
And Stone Oak area, of course, is very popular because of the schools. The Stone Oak is literally what it is. It's stone. It's rock. It's hard to build your pool and put landscaping in and everything else like that. But the draw there primarily, wouldn't you agree, is the school system?
The schools, and I think, let's talk about the lot size too. The lots are a bit bigger there than in a lot of the other neighborhoods. And so when you look at not only lot size, location, it's also a gated, guarded community as well.
Champions Run, we didn't talk about that, but it's Champions Run specifically. That will actually be pretty much the original luxury development for the Stone Oak. And of course, there's been lots of offshoots, since then.
Summerlin,
Yeah, that's where you're going to find, those homes that are, built in 2000 or older, definitely hilly over there in
views,
Champions Run. Yeah, views.
You're going to see views, and like you said, it's built on rock.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see that shifting like you would see in Alamo Heights.
Oh, no.
So it's definitely different. And as far as building a pool, it costs a lot more to put one in.
They're digging. They're digging.
So
one of the cool things also I wanted to point out is that specific neighborhood is also manned, guarded gate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
So one of the few in Stone Oak that actually has that amenity.
And so I used to live up in that area, and what I really liked about that location was there's a lot of places to walk, run. There's a few, trails to go on, but there's also they have, it's not Gucci Bee because, you know, Alamo Heights took that one, but it's called Wilderness Oak HEB. And it's one of the few restaurants in San Antonio, or excuse me, grocery stores in San Antonio. They actually have, they play bands, they have a restaurant, people can go get a drink there.
Like actual alcohol.
Yeah, actual alcohol. It's really kind of a cool, it's got its own vibe. And I
definitely
loved
does.
that it was there because it is a little bit of a trek north. And so you're not necessarily around a lot of things like you would be now more central. So it kind of gives its, you know, little hot spot there.
Yeah, that was definitely a big boon for that area when they built that HEB, because everyone else would have to truck into the 1604 area. You know, to do any type of shopping or anything like that. So.
And they now have a gas station. Back
Yeah,
when I
they
lived
do.
there, you had to drive like 5 miles to get to the local gas station, and now there's one right there, which is really great.
Yeah.
And that Wilderness Oak Street is like goes between 281 and Blanco, so you can get a quick access to 1604 or 281, however you want to, you know, drive there. So it's a kind of a cool location. It's getting a little easier to get to than it used to be, obviously.
For sure. So that's a great area. I was just showing in that neighborhood just last week and ran into a beautiful home, and it just made me remember how much of a little gem that is over there. So now moving down the list, we're going to pop on over to the 281 area and a little bit more central, located very close to the airport. Hill Country Village.
Ah, yes.
Hill Country Village. That is just a really unique neighborhood in and of its own.
Didn't Hill Country Village have like the highest priced property home that ever sold in San Antonio, the history of San Antonio?
Yeah, it's a rumor if it sold or not, but it was north of $12 million. It was an absolute estate property. There's, oddly enough, there's lots of homes that will fit into that bill over there. I remember a few years back talking to Ray Stadler, who's a very predominant builder here in San Antonio, and he was telling me about this big, massive house he was building there, and the pool alone at this house in Hill Country Village was over $1 million. They were doing a lazy river and all kinds of other stuff. But
interesting.
That's not the big draw there. The big draw is actually that there's several acreage lot home sites, so that's like super hard to get.
Very rare
in San Antonio.
inside of Loop 1604 to be able to get that kind of property. Right. So when you say acreage, are you talking like 1 to 3, or what's the biggest? I mean,
I don't know honestly which the biggest is, but I've definitely seen several in the 5, 6, and 7 acre range. So to have that size of property, you know, inside the loop, that's a big deal. I mean, that's like a completely different lifestyle that you just would never, ever get in that area.
And wasn't there like an equestrian, somebody that was either like a personal homeowner that had horses, that had like a little bit of a, like an arena, barn, and all that?
There's several. Most recently, there was a sale in about the 1.6 range. House was nice, but it definitely could have used some updating. But it had, I think it had like 6 stalls. It had a small equestrian center. It was on multiple acres, I think around 5 or so acres.
Got it.
So it just lends itself to a different lifestyle without having to go so far out of the city to get that same lifestyle.
And you're literally like minutes to the airport.
Yeah.
And so everybody, it's just a really good location. But again, how many sales were in Hill Country Village?
There were, oddly enough, 8 sales in the last 12 months over there. So that's a lot of movement for such a, unique area in town. So
and there's everything from ranch style, single story, smaller homes, all the way on up to, like you said, an estate, which could be the rumor
for sure
might have been the biggest sale in San Antonio.
What we've seen in the past is there will be the occasional tear down, some small humble ranch that was built many moons ago, maybe in the 50s or something like that. And someone will buy it just for land value, and put their big beautiful newer home on theirs. But there are a lot of homes that have opportunities just to be rehabbed. They're already big, they're already 5, 6, 7,000 square feet, and they just need a facelift. They need some Botox.
Who hasn't had that?
I know, I just had it.
So going into the number 2 spot, let's talk about Chavano Park.
Yeah.
Don't speed through there, by the way.
Yeah, do not speed through that area.
So,
I had a warrant out for my arrest for a while.
Really?
The attorney took care of it.
I didn't know about that. So anyways, but Chavano Park is also, they have pretty good sized lots there, lots of trees. It's very old and established. let's talk a little bit about what kind of home they can find there, and what the proximity is from I-10 to 1604 and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
it kind of falls in that middle. I would say, geographically speaking, I would lean more towards closer to 1604 and kind of almost in the middle of your 281 and I-10 corridor. On average, your lots are of at least an acre for the most part, to a little bit over that. It's not gated. It's an open community. People can drive around freely over there. And like Stephanie said, they definitely have a police force that's always out and about there. There are some beautiful homes that are in all stylistically speaking traditional. I always tend to notice more of the Mediterranean style over there, but what always catches my eye in that area is the landscaping. There are some houses with some unbelievably established, beautiful landscaping, and that adds so much value, I feel, to houses.
An area. No, for sure. And don't they have like a tennis community there? Isn't there a big tennis community?
Yeah, right behind that Merit Coffee, there's a very, very active tennis community right there.
Right.
It's always packed every time I go grab coffee.
Right. and that's really cool too, is they have that little corner area where, people, there's a Soul Cycle there, there's a Merit Coffee there, so people can just, there's a Starbucks right across the street, so people can just kind of hang out there, and it's a great location too, because it really is close to I-10. Like you can just pop on 1604.
Huge HEB that we used to go to as well on Northwest Military. That's just right south of that, which then has tons of dining and shopping options.
I'm doing a video on HEB because each HEB has their own thing, and like they have, I swear, that Northwest Military, they have like the best vegetable section of all of the HEBs. Like if you're a vegan, shop there.
Cool. So, I just remember we like to go have Mexican food at El Mirasol that's over there, so they can have the vegetables, I'll have the Mexican food.
I'll take the margarita. Okay, so then that brings us to our number one, old established neighborhood. And drum roll, please. What is that neighborhood?
The number one spot is the Dominion. So the Dominion is, the quintessential luxury community of San Antonio. Oddly enough, that's where I started my career 31 years ago, was there as an on-site salesperson in the Dominion. So intimately familiar with it, and I've just loved how it's evolved and grown over the years. And it's really nice to see that so many people have gravitated there to purchase, the more established home sites in the estate section, for example, and rehab them to, more modern, stylistically speaking, examples of homes that you would find today. In the last 12 months, there were 19 sales above $1 million in the Dominion, and you will find home sites well into the 1.5, 2 acre range. There's the few scattered that would be over that, but not typical for that area. But in regards to price points, I mean, it's almost the sky's the limit in the Dominion, realistically speaking. I mean, there's some phenomenal estates there.
And it is also guarded. And when I say guarded, I think it would be easier to get into the White House than it would be. I'm kidding. But yes, very difficult to get in. They monitor that gate very well. Yeah. And they also have, country club lifestyle.
Yeah, that's the only one of all the ones that we spoke about today that would actually have a country club lifestyle.
So they have a very active tennis, golf, very beautiful. They just recently updated it, so people have weddings there. Right. So it's kind of a venue as well. And then also, like when we talk about views, there's a lot of views and a lot of those higher end lots that are in the Dominion.
The one component of the Dominion that pretty much no one else offered on our list is there are still available home sites in which you can build a new home there. It's definitely limited and lower than from when I was there 30 years ago when the developer was, I don't want to say it was still brand new, because the Dominion's going on almost about 40 years old. That you had a plethora of lot choices. Now, definitely not so much. And if you're going to be looking at a large home site, you're easily going to be in the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range for your lot to then build your house on top of that. So,
and a lot of our local celebrities George Strait.
Yeah, he was there for many, many years.
Yeah,
Several basketball players have been there. Singers.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of Mexican singers in that area. What I find is the business people, that's one area that they just tend to congregate. And I'm sure it's, it's to network amongst themselves, the movers and shakers of the industries and whatnot.
And location-wise, it is really close to the Rim, really close to La Cantera for shopping. So there's a lot of things around the Dominion, and then there's the little quaint, more like boutique shops all around I-10 and going in towards Fair Oaks. Yeah. So it's a really great location as well. And it's also a straight shot down to the medical center from I-10. So location-wise, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. And, people like that I-10 corridor just because they can quickly get to Bernie or Kerrville or Fredericksburg or anything like that. So it's just one of those great locations in which it allows you a lot of flexibility of lifestyle.
And the pain of the construction has gone away because there was so much construction on I-10. Now that that's in that area has opened up, it's made it a lot easier to get in and out. I know for a while people didn't like living there.
They dreaded it.
Because
now, it's a quick shot. So it's only made that area even more desirable. So for the people way back in the day, they don't know the ease of having a Dominion exit. When I worked there years ago, I was having to exit on Camp Bullis and drive like pretty much 4 miles on the access road to actually get to the entrance of the Dominion. Now, you're on, you're off, it's right there. So
that's awesome.
That's made it super convenient and very easy to do.
So of the list that we covered today, and I want to make a point here because I know a lot of these homes are older, but they're not old enough to be like a tear down. So somebody wouldn't necessarily go in and tear down one of these homes because they want the established neighborhood like you could do in Alamo Heights.
Absolutely.
It's more of you just get what you get, what's available, and then you have to use your own imagination to update it and rehab it.
Exactly.
But in Dominion, you still have the opportunity to buy a lot and actually build something new. So everything in there, so you said that the neighborhood's 40 years old, so you're gonna have homes in there, I think of Ashley Green, like one we sold, which is definitely going to need some work versus one that's super sexy and modern and upscale. There's just going to be a lot of difference in architecture and, even what some of their track homes they have up there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Dominion actually, it starts off with the gardens area and works its way up, through the estates and other variations of the estate section up into the neighborhoods that have, multiple acres. There's something for everyone in that community. That's what makes it, quite unique.
And how many acres is that community?
Oh gosh, when I was keeping track of it, it was a little over 1,600 acres.
So for me, ease of getting in and out of that neighborhood can be a challenge. I know there's secondary exits as well, but like going back in the back, like if you're somebody that wants to get in and out real quick, that may not be, easy to do.
They solved it to a degree. There's a back exit.
There's a back exit,
one that's relatively not spoken about too terribly much and actually does close at a particular time. So your garden section and then your front main entry, those are always open 24 hours a day. That back third area, it's primarily for people just like what you were talking about. They're way in the back. They'll have an easy way to get out. Instead of trekking through the entire development to get out.
Awesome.
So I hope everyone found this informative and interesting because I tend to like some of these older established neighborhoods.
Me too.
I love to drive into a section that big tree canopies and very nice lush existing landscaping as opposed to some of the new areas. But in the future, we are going to be talking about some of the hip new spots where people are building their luxury homes.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for watching, and please leave a comment below and let us know if you live in San Antonio what you think of these areas, or if you're curious about any of these areas. We'd love to visit with you more about that as well. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.